Hey, welcome everybody to another LinkedIn Live. I'm Brian Friedman. I've been on the LinkedIn Live now for a number of weeks, and it's been great talking to everybody. We've had some great guests on the View from the Top, but today's special. Today, I'm delighted to say, is a really exciting day in Benivo's history. Not only is it actually, well, yesterday was our 10th birthday, but also we're launching New Benivo. And what I want to do today is to tell you all about New Benivo. I want to bring in my CEO and my good friend Nitzan Yudan to talk about everything that's going on in the development of the Benivo platform. We've got some really exciting stuff that we're going to talk to you through today. What I would ask you to do, in the same way that we do it with the View from the Top LinkedIn Live sessions, is if you're here, if you're listening out in LinkedIn world, please can you just start, shouting out, telling us who you are, where you are in the world. We want to make this, in the way we normally do it, we want to make this as interactive as possible. So please start, coming back to us, telling us who's here. And then as we go through, we're actually going to ask you to challenge us. If there's features that you think, we could make better, if there's features you think that we really like, we're going to ask you to sort of, tell us all about it and let us know what's going on. So if you're out there in LinkedIn world, give us a shout, tell us who's there. But anyway, let me introduce Nitzan Yudan. So I'll bring Nitzan into the studio. So Nitzan, it's great to see you, Nitzan. Thanks for helping me with this demo today. And I know that New Benivo is a really exciting development for us, and it's got a number of amazing new features. And the incredible thing is that whereas normally a big technology platform is a big implementation and quite an expensive thing, this is something that is an end-to-end solution which can be implemented in days, maybe even minutes, rather than weeks or months. And also there's no central cost whatsoever. So from the point of view of the mobility professional, this is a free solution. There's no implementation cost, there's no maintenance costs. The only cost is a per user license fee, which gets charged out to the actual individual unit and is equivalent or less than a day's home search. But anyway, Nitzan, I'm stealing your thunder. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about where this all came from, the beginning of it, and then let's get into talking about the New Benivo, and also I'm sure everybody out there is dying to see a demo, and we'll get into the demo. So Nitzan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian, and hi everyone. Great to be. Thank you very much for joining. And yes, a very exciting milestone for us. Just 10 years ago, we registered a legal entity that later became Benivo, so an important milestone. And so many things have changed over those 10 years, but a few things have stayed the same and became the core of the company, the core of Benivo, and that will always stay. First is us being agile, right? We believe that we don't know the answers for everything. Well, I'm putting you aside, Brian, you do know the answer for everything, but talking about us, we don't know the answers for everything, and we keep learning, and we're learning from our clients, and we are iterating and launching new things, and that's what's all about today. Everything I will show today were not our ideas. These were ideas that came from companies we work with, and we simply went and built them, and now being able to introduce them. One thing that is always important for us is that we do not have industry standards as an answer, right? We will never know, sorry, that's not the industry standard. We are always iterating and being agile. The second thing that defines us is the speed. We like to do things fast, we enjoy it, and that's why the implementation is such an easy process, because we've built it to be fast and easy. And finally, we are proud of what we do. We are proud of who we are, and our company mission is to make every employee welcome. Today, we are expanding it for even more employees, to make even more employees welcome. And in times like this is even more important than ever. Make sure that everyone has equal opportunity based on their talent and not based on anything else. Equality has been a core thing that is important for us, and today we're taking it to the next level.
And that's great news, Nitzan. Just to let you know, we've got people coming in from all over the world. We've got over 120 people listening in. We've got, or viewing in. We've got people just looking at where we've got Molly from Jacksonville, Michelle from New Jersey, David from London, Mark from London, Doug Gallardo from New York. We've got Sylvia from New York, from Bucharest, from New Delhi, from Yerevan, from Washington, D.C. We've got Tara Hagen from the Bay Area. We've got Diedrich from Bentonville. We've got from Germany, Vancouver, Atlanta, Bangalore, Houston. We really are global today. Even more. Jeremy from home. That tells us a lot, Jeremy. We've got Siobhan from London. Dubai, all over the world. So we got a huge number. I can see the numbers going up. We're now at nearly 150. So let's move on. Nitzan, can I ask you to sit a little bit closer to the screen, because we are getting a little bit of problem with sound.
Yeah, good. Is it a bit better now?
That's much better, yeah.
Thank you. Today we are going to talk about the 3 areas where we focus on in Benivo. And if you want to share my screen, I'll start talk about that. What you're seeing now on the screen is not yet the demo. This is actually our general website, benivo.com, which we've also upgraded, and there are lots of new things. So I'm going to talk about a lot of new things today. I know that I have this funny accent, and this format is not the best format to take notes, so don't worry. You don't need to take notes. Everything is live on the website. You can see it here under the product tab, the features tab, or if you want to read it all, you can go into the blog under more blog and read a blog that summarizes everything. So no need to take notes, just sit back and enjoy.
But as we go through, guys, do challenge us. If you can see features that you really like, tell us. If you can see features that you would like to see that aren't there, again, do tell us. We pride ourselves on being a very, very agile company, and we want to hear what you in the market want. I think you're going to love what you're going to see, but there's other features you think would be useful. Again, tell us about them.
Fantastic. And we are launching today a single product with different use cases, and that's how I'll introduce it and share those use cases. But the one thing that connects all the use cases is what's the value is. The value is about saving time to the mobility manager and the relocating employee, to save costs, to improve compliance and improve the employee experience. So there are going to be 2 concepts that we're going to discuss today. One concept is the 3 areas of value where Benivo adds value, which is digital destination, streamlining the overall mobility experience, and finance solutions. And I'm going to go and cover in depth all of these 3. The other thing that we will talk about is how to use Benivo. And what we are switching today is to have one product that has 3 layers. There is a standard layer that always comes with Benivo. There are 3 add-ons that the company can add as they wish. And finally, there are a small number of paid add-ons. And I'll go over that now. So when we look at the product of Benivo, we've mentioned 3 areas. The first area is digital destination. What is digital destination support? For us, digital destination is delivery of advice, of settling in, of housing help, everything that we deliver through a product solution. The world has changed, right? We buy things online in a different way than we did it before. We read books in different ways. We shop, we travel, everything has changed. And what we are bringing is all this innovation into the mobility space. We've pioneered digital destinations already 5 years ago. And what we are saying today is that we are extending it to cover more areas of support. What's important here is to say where we draw the line. What we will not do is we will not deliver on-the-ground services. So whenever destination services are supported by people on the ground, that's not what Benivo does. There are fantastic vendors. Some of them I've heard from the names you share are on this call, and they do that. We don't do that. We provide the digital version of that.
And whenever a company can also offer services, they should offer it alongside the digital version through their existing vendor network. Because the other thing that we are saying very clearly today is that we do not have a vendor network and we are not building a vendor network.
So what we're saying is that any vendor, if a client, if a company or an RMC who's working with us wants to onboard any vendor whatsoever, be it the largest vendor in the world, some major, say, Big Four accounting firm, to the smallest DSP in the world, we can onboard any vendor whatsoever anywhere.
Yes, we will integrate, but we will not, there are not going to be other vendors. So we can plug and play with any vendor, and the vendors are going to be either the corporate vendors or the RMC vendors, but not vendors that Benivo comes with our list of our vendors. We plug and play to your list of vendors. So that's digital destination. I'll show that in the demo. We've been doing that through housing support, settling in, and what we are announcing today is that we are extending it also to provide support with culture, with lifestyles, with language, with moving, and even with spouse and partner support. So really all the areas of destination support will have a digital version. And what we believe is that a smart HR policy will give that as a default for every employee. So just like every employee who relocates receives tax and relocation support, they should also receive digital destination support. And on top of that, when there is the budget and the business interest to provide additional vendor services, that's fantastic for on-the-ground support. But when it's not available, we think that there is a baseline support that helps significantly save time. We see an average of 40 hours that are being saved by utilizing the digital destination for every employee who relocates, and additional cost savings for the company by introducing digital destination support. So we will talk about digital destination support. That's one area. The other area that we will talk about is creating a streamlining the mobility experience, an end-to-end experience of everything in mobility, not just destination, but the entire mobility, the entire relocation experience, including tax, immigration, other vendors, and that's streamlining for the employee as well as for the mobility manager. And there's some very, very exciting features, new features that I'm going to show today for the first time. And finally, we'll talk about financial solutions. We've been experts in sending money all over the world now for 10 years. And based on that, we've launched a product of Pay Later, which is now been 6 years ago when we signed Google as our first client. Again, it was their idea, not our idea. And Pay Later has really changed the industry, a cash advancement from Benivo to the employee that the employee repaid back to Benivo after they get their first salary, and it's interest-free. And that allowed us to build advanced payment solutions and finance solutions based on our knowledge. We can now send money extremely fast. We've built AI, artificial intelligence solutions that allow us to automatically approve applications and get money as fast as 1 minute into people's bank accounts.
So you said just one minute. That's amazing. So we're transferring money to the end user within 1 minute. And Nitzan, can I just ask you again to lean further forward? We are getting a few comments that the audio isn't as good as it could be. So I think Nitzan's just refreshing his browser, and we'll be back in 1 second. And there we go, Nitzan. That should have solved the problem, hopefully.
I think it's boring to do a live demo if you don't have, like, from time to time some challenges. So we've actually planted some of these sound challenges. So I'll need to refresh from time to time and restart. All right, we are back in it, and we are talking about finance solutions and what we are doing with our capability.
Can I ask you a question? I'm just going to stop you there, Nitzan, because we are getting questions coming in from the audience. And one question here is this. I presume you will be carrying out the necessary background checks on the vendor before onboarding.
Yeah, I think that's going into the not in the right place. We are not talking about now building a vendor network. Obviously, everyone who we work with, we do all the background checks, but we are not building a network of vendors. That's what relocation companies do fantastically well, and we are not looking to replace them in doing that. We are not building our own vendor network to go and offer it to the market. We just plug and play with the existing vendors of the corporate or through what they use through their relocation provider.
But one of the things that will be added to the solution, if companies want it, is the ability also to have social insights and user reviews on any vendor they're using. So, for example, if it's a question of which bank they might want to open a bank account, we can have on their reviews of how that bank performed from employees in the same company beforehand. So we're adding in, if you like, an Amazon user review or a TripAdvisor user review into the whole question of global mobility and using third-party vendors. Another question that came in, and I think this must be regarding the destination services information, was nowadays the information is changed very fast. How will you manage this change?
Well, we've been doing that for 5 years, and we've been delivering fantastic results, fantastic feedback. We've automated a lot of the updates. We have teams that check some of the things that requires manual checks, like country settling in information and making sure that's accurate. And the rest is driven by the employees giving feedback, sharing advice. You'll see it all in the demo, I promise.
Okay, and I think you said, just before we get to the demo, we were talking about finance solutions. We talked about transferring money within a minute anywhere. But also, and I hope you're going to come on to this, is we're also expanding it. So it's not just pay later. It's also going to be lump sum relocation allowances and even expense management. I don't know if you want to cover that a bit about that now.
Yeah, we'll talk about it as well. But yes, basically what we are saying is that we already know to send money extremely fast, securely, and efficiently. Some of the RMCs are using us to send money in cases when they needed to send it to a tough market or very fast. So now we are expanding that, and we are giving the option to use our money sending capabilities at no additional cost for existing clients, and even for those who are not using Benivo licenses. We are going to charge just $1 to make a disbursement that wherever you need that to go. And we'll get to talk about that. So let's talk about the structure of Benivo going forward. We will talk about standard features that are always available, such as the social insight, what you mentioned about the star rating, the reviews, the ability to see what my colleagues have done, the mobile app, supporting 103 languages through machine translation, unlimited locations, etc. So that's part of the base, and to that we are adding today a long list of free add-ons that each corporate can decide if they want to activate or not. For example, you can use Benivo to initiate your vendors. So you initiate all your vendor for one place, and it doesn't cost anything. You can use it for tax and immigration immigration integrations. You can use it in order to support e-signature, support experience for early career, core flex, spouse platform, a long list of features. I'm going to cover some of them today, not all of them, but we will have a few more sessions like this where we will deep dive into the different areas and the different features.
And another question has come in, Nitzan. It says, on the pay later, can the tool be customized to adhere to organizational relocation policies? I'm sure the answer is yes.
100% yes, and it's already in place and being used like that all over the world, sending different amounts to different populations in different currencies based on what the mobility team is defining. And within that, the employee can choose the best option for them. So the last thing I want to show here on this page is the fact that we've actually went and worked with many of our clients to quantify the cost savings that they will receive by using Benivo. And you can already start and just ask us to find out what are the cost savings for you. We know that these times are extremely important for delivering on cost saving and being proactive with that in the organization. And you can just go complete a form here, and we will produce a complete report for your company, tailored to the specifics, needs and parameters that you have. What are the cost savings? And when we've done that with our existing clients, looking at a typical program of a few hundred moves a year, we've seen savings of between $5 to $10 million every year by utilizing Benivo, with more than $10,000 of saving for every employee who was initiated into the platform.
And just a couple of other comments coming in, Nitzan. From David Green, please cover the spouse platform today. And then Jeremy Chander, when can I receive some further details on this, please, Brian and Nitzan? I'm guessing it also means the spouse platform.
Yes, today we'll talk about the spouse platform, but we will also have a dedicated session where we're going to go in depth into what's in it. Today, I'm going to give a taster. But a lot of things we're going to cover today, but more is coming, promise. And thanks for the feedback. Great to hear from you.
Just one more question, then I'll let you move on. Which is, how does the system protect data privacy for the employees and companies?
Very good question. We take data privacy and data protection extremely seriously. We treat, because that's how we would like anyone to treat our data. Earlier this year, we've become ISO certified 27001, which is the best certification in information security, and everything that we do follow all the regulations and the best practices in the market to protect the data. It's as secure as it can be, all of the data, and you know, we will love to get into the details under the IT assessment that each of these corporates who onboarded us, and as you can see, some of the biggest companies in the world, we work with more than 50. Each of them has done deep dive into our systems to make sure it passed the quality that they wanted.
And another point that's come in, and then I think we'll move on a bit, and actually I can answer this, I think, is from Sami has asked, is the pay later a substitute for the ability to pay on behalf of the transferee, or are both options a possibility? And the answer is both options are a possibility. Pay later is a much loved feature of what we do, because effectively we're advancing free money to the employees to help them with rent deposits or whatever else they might need as part of their move. If companies want to have in extra allowances as well, then obviously those can be there too. We simply facilitate the payments. Okay,
all right,
move on, Nitzan.
Yes, let's have a look at the platform. We're going to look at the standard platform. I'm just going to show some of the branding that we've done with some of our clients, to show that the platform is branded as the employer. It's important for us because we believe that the corporate is purchasing this solution, providing the value, and they should benefit from all the love that they are going to get from their employees by introducing us. It does say it's powered by Benivo, in this case with BGRS when we work with a partner, and either just powered by Benivo when we don't deliver for a partner.
And if I can make the point, Nitzan, I mean, I know that looking at the people coming in the audience, a lot of people in the audience are from RMCs. We are RMC neutral. We can work directly with a client or with any RMC. So if you are an RMC and you haven't already partnered with us, let us know, because we will partner with any RMC to serve any particular client.
Yeah, and we work with most already, and looking forward to work with more. These are just a quick list of some of those that we work with. All right, let's have a look at the platform. And I'll start by covering some of the digital destination, the first area of value that I've mentioned. Some of it are things that maybe some of the people here have seen before, because as I said, we've been doing that for now 5 years since we've pioneered digital destinations, but I'm also going to highlight the new things.
Let me just say, whilst Nitzan's moving between the platform here, is that one of the things that's really cool about this platform is that it is automatically, we call it Automagically actually, translated into over 100 languages. And we can do this. And I'm going to throw this out to the audience. If somebody wants to name a language that they speak. I mean, it is machine translation. We're not saying it's perfect. But if anybody wants to throw out a language, we will translate it here live, and you can see how quickly we can do that. So I'm just waiting for someone to throw out a language, and when one comes in, I'll tell you, Nitzan, and maybe we can translate it there and then.
Looking forward to that. So as part of the settling in, right, one area that we cover is opening a bank account. Of course, we will tell the employee when to do it, but we will also, and send them reminders, so you don't need to do that, but we will also tell them how to do it. So we can provide them with the guidelines everywhere, anywhere in the world, which documents they will need to provide, what are the requirements, for example, social security number, what solutions they have if they don't have the social security number. And then
challenge time, Nitzan. I'm going to interrupt. We've got. I'll tell you the ones that have come in so far. We've had French, Spanish, Lithuanian, Mandarin, and a second one in Spanish. Well, let's do. I mean, some of these are too easy. Let's do. We'll start off with Spanish. We had 2 requests, and then let's
really,
do.
I thought Lithuanian. I'm already on Lithuanian.
Then Lithuanian and Mandarin.
Well, I will not try to read it out in Lithuanian, but for the person who asked, I'll talk about these slides, and it will be great to get their feedback on that.
So that's
so we can see. Yeah, and you ask for more languages. What was the other one you asked? Spanish is easy, right? Spanish is easy. Let's go with I don't know what's Pashto. I think it's Persian, right? But let's go with Afrikaans. Just for that, and you can see everything is changing on the platform to support that language.
And our Lithuanian guest, Lena, said excellent. So hopefully I'll translate.
All right. Thank you, Lynn.
But I mean, we won't spend too much on this. You get the idea. It translates into, I think it's 103 languages, down to from Afrikaans to Zulu, and everything in between alphabetically. And this is for the employee or the assignee. So as they're using it, they can translate it themselves and see it in whatever is their native language.
And what we are seeing here is one of our core unique offering to the market, where it's about digital destination and answering also the question, how do we keep the data up to date? So we have a few ways. That's one of the ways. Because today, when we buy something on Amazon, we look at the price and the star ratings and reviews. When we book a holiday, and hopefully very soon, we go on Expedia or TripAdvisor, and we look at the star rating, what other people said about that hotel. Everywhere in our life, we use star rating and reviews, except when we relocate. And that's what we've changed. I can see now what my colleagues have chosen, which bank account did they open, and what was the experience. And I can just click and do the same. And it's not only on bank account, it's on anything else. It's on mobile plan, it's on sorting out my social security number if I had to do it myself, it's on where I live, and I'll show you. Let's have a look at the housing section. I can see that on where do people live, and how much they pay.
The point here, Nitzan, as I understand it, it's the same way that people buy things normally. You know, if I'm buying something on Amazon, the first thing I do is I read the user review. If I'm going on a holiday, chance to be a fine thing at the moment, the first thing I do is look on TripAdvisor and look at, you know, what the reviews are. And we're bringing that concept, that Amazon TripAdvisor concept, into global mobility, so the employees can learn from each other. We've also gamified global mobility, and we'll talk a bit about that later, I think.
Yes, in a couple of minutes. Here we are looking at housing advice, right? So, so helping people choose a place where to live. They can see the price coming from public available sources for every neighborhood and every city in the world, as well as how much their colleagues are actually spending, something that is the most relevant for them that they can't find anywhere. They can see how long the commute takes and what their colleagues are using to commute, and which property size they live in, and even which neighborhoods are the most popular.
And next, they can go and explore it on a map and see anywhere around their office, what are the prices, what is the commute time, as well as the safety data when it's available. And here in purple, you can see the popular areas where colleagues live.
I find this one of the coolest features, and this was in the original Benivo as well, that this is a way that you can just look and see a map and see where your colleagues are and see the areas that are popular. It's to help people settle in, to be able to see where other people are living and what are the popular areas for their colleagues is so powerful.
And next, we give them a series of mini courses to help them
learn how to search like a local. Whether they're going to get home search or not, they will search by themselves as well. So let's just tell them how to do it, when they should start looking for accommodation based on how long it took their colleagues. They can see here which websites are most popular. They can see the websites that are most popular, the tips and tricks on each of them. And let's say I had enough. I can see I've completed 27% of this module. I have 4 more minutes. I can continue that from my mobile or from any other device whenever I want. One of our most popular areas have always been how to avoid scams and frauds. We are stopping every month between 5 to 10 cases of people who are about to send money to properties that don't exist. And what we are announcing today is that the same tools are going to be expanded also into more areas. So if I need to choose a mover by myself because on my policy, the company did not provide it to me, we give advice how to make sure that this mover is actually legit, how to make sure they're not getting overpriced, how to make sure that what is promised to them is actually going to be delivered to them, and all through interactive tools available 24/7 that they can go through them and just use it by sliding right and swiping right and swiping left. All right, many more things on the housing, as well as ability to see what my colleagues have been negotiating, for example, in the rent, how much they've managed to negotiate, what percentage of negotiated, and where we are expanding that is also to be about buying a house, about moving domestically in the US, as well as anywhere in the world, and covering a lot more of areas of destination support, such as culture and training, etc. Let's have a look at gamifying this experience, because you've asked about that. And we can see here that as part of the Benivo experience, every employee is choosing a cause that they would like to support. And they have a cause to choose between a few options, and Benivo will donate on their behalf. If they would then go ahead and also share some insights, we will double their donations. And let's see how that works. For example, if I'm looking at renting as an area where I want to share insights, I can see what type of properties are you currently living. I live in a 2-bedroom house, and I can see how that compares to my colleagues. I can see on each of these questions as I answer them, what my colleagues have answered and where do I benchmark. And what happens in the background is our algorithms automatically calculate that and add it to the data that we've seen before as part of the housing section. And the same applies for the moving, about my office, choosing schools, about buying a property, finance every area of their life. They can do that. And I can see here that I've now answered 3 out of the 30 questions. I'll get to 30, I'll get the reward.
And a question has come in from Sylvia in New York, has said, how often can they access the site? Is there a time limit for viewing? And just to say, I know that with destination services, normally, you buy a day or you buy 2 days of maybe home search. Here you have access for 12 months from even before the assignment starts all the way through. So we are encouraging a service. And again, the way we'd put it is we're offering 12 months service and plus all the other stuff for less than the cost of 1 day's home search.
Yeah, and for people on assignment, it will be for the duration of the assignment. So it can be even longer than 12 months at no additional cost. So it's not like an annual fee. It's a one-off fee per move per location. All right. We had a few questions about the partner and spouse platform. So let me a little bit explain the background to why we've even went to do that. Because one of the things we've noticed is that we've seen that quite a few of the users of the platform, especially when they were chatting us here on the live chat that you can see here on the right, they were actually the spouse, the partner of the employee relocating. And of course, we were happy to help them, but we thought that this is a missed opportunity because the spouse, let's face it, already feels out of the process, and now they need to sneak in with someone else's user and look into the information, and it's all about the employee, it's not about them, and hey, what about me, right? This is a shared mission. And what we thought to do is to change that and to offer the spouse support and put them in the middle, in the center, and create a dedicated platform, not the platform we are looking at today, but an additional platform that is all about the spouse and all about providing that support, and that's given as a free add-on, right? We're not charging anything, it's part of the Benivo license, and it's providing additional support, supporting our mission of making every employee welcome, now also every partner welcome.
So effectively, what we're saying is that you get 2 technology platforms for the price of 1. With every corporate technology platform, there's also one for the partners as well. Just a couple of comments have come in. Henry has said, from an administrator perspective, are you able to visualize trends and hone your service accordingly? I think we'll get on to the whole question of corporate reporting and the whole question of the manager view shortly. So bear with us, Henry, we'll get there. And then from Steve Burson has said, when we know that real estate data on the internet is often not updated and is often uploaded to gain inquiry, how do you manage to maintain good data integrity?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. We have very advanced algorithms. We collect a lot of data. We're talking about big data and a big number of listings that we analyze them. But what also important is that we have this unique data that you can't find anywhere else, which is how much your colleagues are actually spending, what was the actual amount they've put. And we can get that unique information and give it as guidelines that will help the employee. So on the spouse platform, right, what is in this platform? Here as the employee, I get a sneak peek into what's inside, and I can go and invite my partner to this platform that will help them in one of those, or many of those life choices that they're going to make going forward. For example, if they are looking for a job, how do I find a job? Let's say I'm moving to Portugal. Do I need to speak Portuguese, or there are jobs for English speakers? Do I need a CV in English, or it's only in Portuguese? Which websites do I even look? Which recruiter? How do I find it? What do I need to do in order to find a job? Can I even legally work there? Next is about studying. Let's say I want to study. Can I, in the example of Portugal, can I study in English, or do I need to study in Portuguese? Can I study somewhere online? How does that work, right? Everything has become virtual over the last few months, but that's a trend that has been happening for a few years. We give them that support so they can see, to make their own choices. If they want to start a business, how to do about it, how to get the inspiration, some of the tips and tricks, and also some of our experiences in starting a business there, as well as things related to raising a family, nurturing themselves, and of course, all the destination content, as you've seen for the employee platform, from opening a bank account to housing advice, moving, etc. They have it all on their platform, and putting the partner in the center.
And if I can just come in, Nitzan, with a couple of comments, which I'll just take. So just to follow up on the question that Steve Burson asked, he asked a question about data integrity and where we're getting the data from. Again, just to emphasize, and in fact, I think Paula Kupka made the same point in a way. She said, is crowdsourcing the main drive of your data? And we take data from different levels. We take data that's generally available, but the more specific data we get is actually from within the company itself. So yes, we are crowdsourcing the data, the information, but we're crowdsourcing from within the same organization. And the system learns from itself. So obviously it gets better and better and better over time. People inevitably ask us, well, how do you actually get started the first time? And the answer is, when we're doing a setup, we will actually survey existing employees to get information from them. So we then got a base level of information that is always there, but the information does get better over time. Another question that came in is, I presume you're fully GDPR compliant, correct? And the answer is yes, indeed we are. A couple of other questions. Please do comment on integration with tools internal to an organization. And I'll leave that one with you, Nitzan. And then the other question is, can DSPs be integrated into the platform?
Yeah, fantastic questions. All right, and I think they all bring us into the second area of value. So we talked about digital destinations. We talk about how we are going to use other people and also the other spouse experience, right? So they will be able to see star ratings, reviews, connect on WhatsApp group with other spouses, just like the employees do on the platform. All of that under the digital destination umbrella. Now let's talk about the new area that we are introducing today, which is Streamline the mobility experience, an end-to-end platform that gives the employees everything to know, as well as the integration to any internal process or external vendor, any tool that needed, and we never charge money to do any integration. So where the need actually came from. Yeah.
Before we get there, I just want to pick up on a point. Someone said, Joel Williams asked, are there any incentives for the employees to participate? What's in it for them? And the answer is, we've gamified it. We've made it fun. And indeed, we will pay out charitable donations if they do. So we've not had a problem. Employees tend to like to give their feedback. But actually, we've incented them by gamifying the whole global mobility. And that's why we've done it. And again, that is, I believe, a first for our industry, the gamification of global mobility. Nitzan, back to you and streamlining the mobility experience.
Thank you. And where the need came from, right? It came from something we've all experienced, is the fact that when someone relocating, they are using too many platforms and too many tools and too many processes, and they need to send their information to too many people. It's just a frustrating and disappointing experience. I was in the Bay Area just 3 months ago, feels like forever, and I was talking to a company, not our client yet, but they were giving me the example that every employee who needs to relocate with them need to contact 15 different vendors and share their information again. And we're talking about a leading technology company where obviously that's not the experience they can deliver to their employees. And what we've done is we've eliminated that. We call it Automagically complete any form, any document, anything. There's never going to be a need to enter the same information more than once. So let's have a look on how that's worked across tax, immigration, the relocation vendor, any of the DSP services, as well as internal company processes and policies. So for example, if we start with tax, what we will see here is how that they receive a digital brief into their tax, right? So on the Benivo platform, which is the first thing where they start, they can get a first orientation, a digital brief of what will be their experience. And this is in partnership with the company tax provider. Here, just for the demo, we replace the real Big Four company who is providing that with the Acme, a generic logo, but it will be your existing tax provider, and we are able to deliver that with any tax provider, and already delivering that with the Big Four. So what I can do here is I can learn about my process. I can see what I need to do. I need to watch some personalized videos, submit documents, and prepare my tax return. And I can go and start the process and see how that actually this is gonna work. So that's just a digital brief explaining me how it will work. And finally, I can see how it worked for my colleagues, how long it took them, what was the hardest bit, what are the tips they have to share with me. And when I get the end to the briefing, I get this fun confetti and I can mark this as done. Once I mark this as done, I can move to the next step, let's say uploading documents. So I can see that I'll need to upload a copy of my passport, and this information, this experience is automatically going to send the information to my tax provider, and it's also tailored to the employee home country,
destination country, population, and what benefits they receive. And once I upload it here, I will not need to send it to others. We can review any document, sign any document, etc., even submit a question to my tax provider. So let's say I have a question about my pension. I can type it here quickly, and it go directly to my tax advisor, who will respond to me directly. Now, when I'm gonna mark this as done, what's good about it is the employee, I don't get any more notifications and reminders to do it, but also as the mobility manager, I can see where are my employees. We don't need anymore to chase it. Yesterday, Peggy Smith and you were talking about the importance of doing more strategic work. In order to do that, we have to eliminate the manual work, the admin work, to automate that using technology. And that's exactly what we are giving here. The ability to stop chasing employees, to ask them, have you done X, have you done Y, where are you with this? But having a platform that does it, and we get, as the consultants, the reports to see who we need to support at any stage. And I'll show that in a minute. So that's a little bit, yeah.
Let me just feed in there for a second, just a couple of other comments. Mena has said, so what will be the first region that you will start with? And the point here, Mena, actually is that this is something that is live. It's been live for a while, and we can do any location. This is not a question of us starting with a new region. And Steve Burson came in and said, many of my markets are boutique, developed locations maybe, but undeveloped locations are small and there is no big data. We believe we can already cover about 10,000 locations worldwide. We go, down to a very small city level. And because we're collecting a lot of that data from, as I said, multiple sources, one from internet-based algorithms, which is what we're talking about when we're talking about big data, but also from crowdsourced within the company itself, then if the company has got a presence there, or there's other information out there, we can cover pretty much any location within reason. I said it is literally about 10,000 that we can cover already. And we are
I mean, the reality is that we build technology allowing us to launch any location in the world in seconds. And that's available globally, from a small town in Turkey, where one of our clients had a factory, to a place, an island in the Philippines. So and we've already been doing that with some of the brands you've seen before, with thousands and thousands and thousands of people all over the world. So it's global by default. And everything I'm showing today are all live implementations that we've done with clients. Let's have a look at immigration. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on with immigration.
But in the interest of time, I want to make sure we get to that.
Yeah.
So on the immigration here, again, there is information and contact with the provider, right? We call them Rocket Immigration, again, just for the demo, but obviously it's going to be, if not the major, then one of the major immigration providers. And let's say I need to sign a document for them, right? The privacy policy, in order to start the process. So I can see, what do I need to do? And if in the past, the process would have been for me to get an email that will give me access to a link that I need to download, print, sign, scan, email back, obviously a big waste of time and source for mistakes. Instead, I can just go here, read the document. Of course, I can download it if I want, but everything I can complete from the platform. The platform already pre-populate all my personal information, because it has no need to manually fill those forms, and I can click sign, submit, and that's it, I'm done. And again, my employer will see that. It will go automatically into my into my immigration provider here, and everything is done using technology. So a great experience. Also sending me a copy of what I've signed, so I have it as well. And that's it. I can now mark it done. It's actually marked it done for me. Next, I can even track what is the status of my immigration application. I can see how long, what steps have gone. I've already been initiated. First contact happened. Now I'm in the sending document phase, and I can see and manage the expectations about what's happening next, and getting reminders when I need to do the next thing. Again, can upload the document, can see what I need to provide, all of that for this platform. Other than tax and immigration, also on company are delivering me by social security, driving license, if it's provided through a different vendor, there is a digital brief that explains me who will provide it to me, how it will be done, and how do I get access to that.
I appreciate in the interest of time, Nitzan, we're going to have to move on. We've got about an hour slot left. We've got about 10 or 15 minutes left in this slot. Just a couple of comments. Sundar asked, how do you onboard RMCs? Do you integrate with their solutions through APIs, or do you give them access to your platform? And then the other question that came in is, are these workflows bespoke to each client, or are they standard for all users?
Yeah, so the workflows, everything here is extremely customizable, and we customize that in days, in minutes, not in months. It's not a long process. It can be customized per corporate, per population, whatever you want it to be, just tell us, and it's all done very, very fast, because it doesn't require any development. We'll have a different session about how our technology actually works. And yes, we will work with the RMC in the best way that will work for them as well as for us through an integration. Another thing I can do here is I can go through, for example, a process of that is internal. So we got that question before. This is a company specific, no vendor related. It can generate actions to the company systems or company emails, and I can have a full view of everything here. And the value here is that when I switch and I'm looking at it from the HR view, so now I've left the employee platform and I moved into the HR platform, I can have a full dashboard of my company, of my population, giving me business intelligence, BI tools to identify what should I focus on next. So I can see an overview, and I can see across the world where are my employees based, and then I can go and do a few things, right? So I can obviously invite an employee, and I can do that.
I find this one of the most fascinating bits of new technology. The number of times mobility professionals have said to me, especially when you get a crisis like when we had lockdown recently, I just don't know where all my assignees are. I don't know where all my employees are. And now we've got this amazing functionality that means that, again, at the click of a button, you can find out where your employees are. And I'm sure people are going to be fascinated about that. So maybe you could show some of the reports and we could just talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I'll show that. That's a great idea. And as I'm going through that, what I'm doing now is initiating an employee to the platform. Of course, they can do bulk upload, or integrate that. But here I can also select which vendors I want to initiate. And let's say this employee belong to this population. This is their default, but actually they don't receive cultural training. I can untick that, and that's it. I can click submit. What will happen next? This will automatically initiate all the vendors, share with them all the information that I want to share with them. So no need for me to enter that information again on their tools, and saving significant amount of time for both the employee and the mobility manager, as well as for the vendor who can access that on their platform. Let's have a look at some of the reports. I can see what are the status of my registration, how many credits I've used, where people have registered. I can filter, I can search. Anything can be exported into a Excel or a spreadsheet, or however you want that, or pushed into your HR system. You talked about the employee location. That's a feature we launched very quickly during the pandemic period and offered for free for anyone who needs that, to be able to track through data protection compliant way, where are my employees, and I can see them on a map. I can see the numbers, I can see the locations, I can drill down into a specific employee. Let's say I want to see where all the employees are of my office, of one of my offices. I can just put the name of the office, and I can immediately see the locations of all the employees. I see here one employee in Rome. I was not expecting to have an employee in Rome. I can click, I can find out who is that person and see if any action is needed here, etc. Another interesting report is the employee action. So where in the process of the relocation the employee is. I can see which actions they've completed, which they've completed but slightly delayed, and which actions are overdue. So requires attention, and that can be by action, it can be by employee. I can see the data, and all of that I can drill down and see immediately who are those employees, and not either notify their manager or see what do I need to do in terms of the next steps. But all of that is a lot of advanced reporting that.
And a great question that's come in, Nitzan, from Mark Rabe. Mark says, where do you see yourself integrating into the process with RMCs that use platforms like Equus, Inio, Service Engine, etc.? Is this platform meant to replace those systems or to work in conjunction with them?
Yeah, so for companies who use these tools, they can definitely partner and integrate with us, and we are able, they can use some of the functionalities here or there, up to them, but everything can be integrated. And as I said, not every client that works with us is using all the functionalities you've seen today. It's up to the corporate to decide what do they want to use out of those free add-ons, out of the standard features, and then we can customize the solution based on the need. But yes, 100% it's possible to integrate with any existing solution, or to use it as a standalone solution, as many corporates are doing, simply because of the benefit that there is no need to ask for mobility budget, right? There's not going to be any cost for the mobility. Let's talk a little bit about money and money distribution. We are talking a bit about pay later. Pay later is the unique feature where we can send money to employees and they repay it back to us in 6 monthly installments. This can be for employees who don't get an allowance. This can be instead of an allowance. It can be on top of an allowance. It's really up to the company to decide how they want to use it. We've seen a strong trend this year where companies have stopped providing upfront allowances because of tax compliance and tax regulations, and switched into giving it as part of their payroll. So the employees get the allowance, but as part of the payroll, and they give pay later, because here, in case of the employee not joining or anything that is going wrong, there is no risk because the money is going to be collected back. And the feedback from the employees is phenomenal. It's our most loved feature, getting ranking of 9.5 to 9.8 out of 10. But what I want to talk about now is how we are taking this to the next level. What we are adding today to our ability to send money through pay later is also the ability to send money full stop, right? So relocation allowance, paying a vendor, anything you need to do, you can do it through Benivo, and as long as a working capital fund is provided, we will not charge anything for that, right? For existing clients. And even if you don't work with us and you only want to use us to send money, we will send money for $1 per disbursement. That's the benefit of us being able to automate the entire experience. We've built artificial intelligence AI tools that allow us to review every transfer, every application. All of that is automated, and basically we don't have any cost to send money except for that $1 fee, which is what we are offering. So really a big opportunity for companies who are now looking at cost savings, who need to send money to their employees, to their mobility network, to be able to do that faster than anyone in the market. And we commit on that. No one will be able to send money faster than we do. It's going to be easy experience, fantastic feedback, and offered for free within the license, or $1 if you don't have a Benivo license. So that's I think a quick view of everything we've said here today. We will have more in-depth sessions to cover more over the coming weeks and months ahead. I'm really looking forward to that. One last point I wanted to mention is that, as always, we don't ask anyone to take our word. We say, try it out yourself. We offer free trials with Benivo for anyone who wants to start with 60 employees, see the feedback they receive, see the cost savings, and then build a business case internally based on their real data. Again, I've mentioned $5 million to $10 million of cost savings that we've seen in different implementations of Benivo. Let's find out what are the cost savings that we can deliver with you.
Okay, well, we hope that everybody out there who's been watching, I know there have been a couple of hundred of you listening in or watching in, have found it fascinating. If you've got any questions, please do email Nitzan. It's Nitzan at Benivo.com, or me, I'm Brian.Friedman at Benivo.com, or approach us via LinkedIn. Obviously, we're all on LinkedIn together, and we'll answer your specific questions. But we believe this is a radical, game-changing, transformational technology, whereas in the past people either used Excel spreadsheets or they had a major implementation to deal with. And what we've provided is something which is a simple version that is focused on the employee, not on the manager, although it has full end-to-end manager functionality. It's got streamlined user experience. We've done some pretty new stuff, like, as I said, gamifying global mobility, like using what we call social insights, but think of it as user reviews or learn from your colleagues. We've put all that in. And in terms of costing, again, just what we said at the beginning, there is no upfront cost whatsoever. There's no implementation fee. There's no annual maintenance fee. There's no change fees. There's no fees whatsoever, other than there is a simple per user license fee, which is under the price of one day's home search. And of course, as a global mobility professional, that is not a cost that you bear in your central budget. That is simply a cost of the assignment, in the same way that destination services are a cost of your assignment. So basically, we are providing a technology platform that is both more efficient for you, the employer, more cost effective for you, the employer. It enhances the employee experience, and it saves time. We hope you've really enjoyed it. As I said, we're here to answer any questions you may have. If you want to email us afterwards, all that really remains is for me to say thank you to Nitzan for doing such a great demo of the technology, and for having so many great ideas. In the company. I know last year was a record year, and on, and so far it seems to be, despite everything, it seems to be we're ahead of budget. We're ahead of last year, which is pretty amazing in the current circumstances. So congratulations to you, Nitzan, and best wishes to everybody out there. We, of course, I will be back next week with another edition of The View from the Top. That's on our normal time, Wednesday at 4 o'clock UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And next week we've got guests. We've got one representative from each of the big four. So hopefully we'll see everybody again then. And once again, thank you everybody for listening in, and thank you, Nitzan. Goodbye.
Thanks.